Hello, this is Abby from ollieholly.com. Welcome to day 7 of my 12 days of Appliques crochet along. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to crochet this polar bear. Pause here to read through the materials you'll need to make this project. If you want to follow along with a written pattern, you'll find the printable PDF in my shop on ollieholly.com. The link will be in the description box down below. To receive future updates on new patterns, sign up for my newsletter through the link in the description box down below. To make the stitches easier to see in this video, I'm going to be using this brown yarn instead of the white. The first thing we will be working on is the face of the bear. For round 1, start with a slip knot on your hook. So we're going to start by chaining 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When working into a chain, I like to work into the back bumps instead of through the chain itself. So this here is the front of the chain and I'm going to flip it to expose the back loops. To start, I'm going to skip the chain closest to my hook and I'll start in the second chain from my hook instead. Into the second chain, I'm going to work an increase stitch. In this video, I'll be working the yarn under single crochet instead of the standard single crochet. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to yarn under to pull a loop up, then yarn over and I'm pulling it through the 2 loops on my hook. Because I'll be increasing, I'm going to insert back into the same chain, yarn under to pull a loop up, yarn over and pull through. Into the next 2 chains, we're going to work 1 single crochet, so 1 and 1. So I'm inserting into the next chain, yarn under to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. Into the next chain, yarn under to pull a loop up, yarn over to pull through the 2 loops. And into this final chain, we're going to work 4 single crochet, all 4 stitches into the same chain space. So I'm inserting into the final chain and I'm going to work my first single crochet. Back into the same space, 2. Back into the same space, 3, then 1 more time into the same space, 4. Next, we're going to be working along the other side of the chain. Because we worked into the back bumps initially, we'll be working into the fronts of the chain on this side. The first chain from our hook, the tiny little scrunched up one, is the one we just worked 4 single crochet stitches into. So we'll be starting in the next chain. Into this chain, I'm going to work 1 single crochet. So insert, yarn under to pull a loop up, then yarn over, pull through. Into the next one, work another single crochet. So that's just 1. Into the next one, which is our final chain, work an increase. So insert into the final chain, work a single crochet, then insert back into the same chain and work another single crochet. And finally, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. So insert into the first stitch, yarn over and pull it through all the loops on your hook. In round 2, start off by chaining 1. Then work 1 single crochet into the same stitch we had slip stitched into in the previous round. So that's this stitch right here. So 1 single crochet into this stitch. And now we're going to alternate between working an increase, then 2 single crochet. repeating that 3 times total. So that's increase 1 1, increase 1 1, increase 1 1, and to finish a round off, we're going to increase, work a single crochet into the final stitch, and then slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. So into the next stitch, we're going to increase, then work 2 single crochet, then increase, two single crochet, and then we're going to work one more set, so increase, 2 single crochet, and into the next stitch we're going to increase, then into that final stitch we're just going to work 1 single crochet. And finally we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round, so that's that one right there. In round 3, start by chaining 1. And just like before, the first stitch of the round will be worked into the same stitch we have slip stitched into in the previous round. For this round, start off by working the following set twice. We'll be working 2 single crochet, then increase. So doing it twice is going to be 1 1 increase, 1 1 increase. So we'll start with that first. So starting in the first stitch, 1 1, then increase. Then we're going to do that one more time. So 1 1, increase. Then we're going to work 4 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to work the following set of stitches twice. So we're going to increase, then work 2 single crochet. So to do that twice, it's increase 1 1, increase 1 1. So increase, 1 and 1, then increase, and then 2 single crochet, so 1 and into the next 2. To finish off this round, we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch of the round, then work 1 slip stitch. In round 4, start by chaining 1. And like before, the first stitch goes into the stitch that we slip stitched into in the previous round. Start this round by working 2 single crochet, so 1, so 1 and 2. Then increase in the next. Now into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet 3. So that means I'm going to work 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So that's 1, insert back into the same stitch, 2, insert back into the same stitch, 3. Then we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. that's 1, 2, and 3. Increase into the next stitch. So that's 1 and 2. Mark the second stitch of the increase, so that's this stitch right here, with a stitch marker. Then work 5 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into the next stitch, work an increase. So that's 1, then back into the same stitch, 2. Mark the first stitch of the increase with a stitch marker. Continuing on, we're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Then into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet 3. So insert, 1, back into the same stitch, 2, back into the same stitch, 3. Into the next stitch, we're going to increase. So that's 1, then back into the same stitch, 2. Hi, so I'm editing right now and I realized that I forgot to mention that you need to mark the second stitch of this increase. This is going to be where we start the collar later on. Next, single crochet into the final stitch. We're going to single crochet into that slip stitch from the previous round. So that's this stitch right here. Cut your yarn tail, then pull your hook up to fasten off. Thread your yarn tail onto a darning needle and work a seamless join in the round. So locate the second stitch, insert your needle underneath the top loops of that stitch and pull through. Then insert your needle back into the final stitch through the center and out the back. Pull through. Weave the tails in, then trim off the excess yarn tails. To make the ears, insert your hook into one of the stitches marked by a stitch marker on top of the head. Wrap your yarn around your hook like this, and pull a loop through. You can hold the yarn tail down the back with your hand to prevent it from getting pulled through. Make sure to make this yarn tail a little longer than I did to make weaving it in a little easier later on. Chain 1, then working into the same stitch, work 2 half double crochet stitches. So yarn over, insert into the same stitch. Then before continuing on, I like to lay the shorter yarn tail over my hook, just so that I can secure it into the back of this stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over with my working end, pull a loop up, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'm going to pull on this yarn tail to tighten up that side a little bit. And then our second half double crochet into the same stitch. And again, I'm laying that yarn tail, that shorter yarn tail over my hook. And that's my second half double crochet. And finally, I'm going to chain 1, then work a slip stitch into the same stitch. Cut the yarn tail and fasten off. Weave both yarn tails into the back of the head. Cut off the excess yarn tails Then repeat in the other stitch marker for the second ear. To rewatch the first ear, head over to this timestamp. If you don't need to rewatch it, you can pause here to work the second ear. To make the collar, we'll be starting in the marked stitch down by the chin. For this, we'll be working into the back loops only. When you take a look at the tops of each stitch, you'll see that there are 2 loops. We'll be inserting our hook into the center and out the back. Insert your hook into the back loop of the marked stitch. Wrap your yarn around the hook just like we did with the ears. Then pull a loop up. Chain 1, then into the same stitch we just worked into, make a single crochet. And just like with the ears, I'll be crocheting that yarn tail into the back of my stitches here as well. Into the back loops of the next stitch, work 2 half double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over, insert into the next, yarn over, pull a loop up, then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So that's our first half double crochet, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over to pull a loop up, yarn over, pull through all 3. Into the back loops of the next stitch, work a double crochet. So yarn over, insert into the back loops, yarn over to pull a loop up. Then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. Chain 2, then slip stitch into the same stitch that we worked our double crochet into. Into the back loops of the next stitch, start by working a slip stitch. Then chain 2, then work a double crochet into the same stitch we slip stitched into. Half double crochet twice into the next back loop. And for our final set of stitches, we're going to work a single crochet and a slip stitch into the back loops of this stitch right here. So single crochet and slip stitch into the same stitch. Cut the yarn and pull your hook up to fasten off. Then weave the tails into the back of the collar. Trim off any excess yarn tails. As you can see on my applique, the tension is all over the place because I have a hard time keeping tension consistent while filming. Blocking the applique will help to even out the stitches. To do so, fully saturate your applique in some cool water. Squeeze out any excess water, then press down with a clean washcloth to blot dry. Pin the applique onto a blocking board, making sure to adjust the stitches while doing so. Allow it to dry fully before continuing to work with it. While we're waiting for the head to dry, let's work on the snout. Make a magic circle with the same yarn you used for the head. If you need some help with the magic circle, I have a more dedicated video tutorial for it and I'll link it down below. For round 1 of the snout, work 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull on the yarn tail from the magic circle to fully close up that center circle. We're going to be working in continuous rounds, so we're going to work straight into the first stitch. In round 2, alternate between working 1 single crochet, then increasing, repeating that a total of 3 times. So into the first stitch, we're going to work our first single crochet. Then we're going to work an increase into that next stitch. And we're just going to repeat the set again. So single crochet, increase in the next, then into the final 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet, then increase. You should have a total of 9 stitches by the time you are done with this round. Cut the yarn tail and fasten off. Thread your yarn tail onto a darning needle, then work a seamless join in the round. If you're planning to just glue the snout onto the face, you can weave the tails into the back. If not, keep the yarn tails for sewing. Embroider in the nose and the mouth. For thicker parts like the nose, I like to use thinner yarn to go over the same stitch multiple times. I find that it feels more secure and looks just a little bit neater. Tie a tight double knot in the back to secure, then cut off the extra floss. Sew or glue the snout onto the face, with the snout sitting closer to the bottom of the face. I'm doing a combination of the two by sewing the tails into the face to hold the snout down, then applying glue to fully secure the snout to the face. If you use glue, allow it to dry a little before moving on to the eyes. Embroider the eyes just a little bit above the snout. Just like with the nose, I'm going over the stitch multiple times to create rounder, thicker eyes. Tie a tight double knot in the back to secure, then cut off the excess floss. With your pink embroidery floss, embroider 2 short lines under the eyes to make the blush. Sew a bead to the center of the collar. To turn your applique into an ornament, glue a loop of yarn to the back of the head. Allow that to dry for a few minutes before applying glue to the rest of the back. Glue the applique to the felt. Allow your glue to dry before cutting out your applique to prevent glue from getting onto your scissors. If you like this video, you might like a few of my other videos too. Please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!